Upgrading Legacy Elasticsearch on AWS, a practical guide to modernizing from version 1.5 to 5.6. This podcast is brought to you by Business Compass LLC. We are an Amazon Web Services advanced consulting partner. We build and migrate workloads to Amazon Cloud. Our website is businesscompassllc.com. Our phone number is 973-638-2228. Our email address is contact@businesscompassllc.us. Upgrading a legacy stack is always challenging, especially when crucial components like Elasticsearch and Spring Boot are involved. This podcast walks you through upgrading from Elasticsearch 1.5 to 5.6 on AWS, covering key challenges, strategies, and practical steps to ensure a smooth transition with minimal downtime. Introduction: Facing dual legacy challenges, upgrading Elasticsearch and Spring Boot. Upgrading can feel like navigating a minefield when dealing with a legacy stack. Not only do you have to contend with compatibility issues and potential downtime, but the underlying code base might also be tightly coupled with outdated technologies. Upgrading from Elasticsearch 1.5 to 5.6 poses dual challenges: modernizing your search engine and adapting your Spring Boot applications to new APIs and query syntax. The three key hurdles of upgrading legacy Elasticsearch. Compatibility issues. Elasticsearch 5.6 introduces breaking changes that may render your existing code incompatible. Updating the AWS version and client libraries without disrupting service requires careful planning. Data reindexing. Elasticsearch 5.6 has a different data structure and indexing process, making it necessary to reindex or migrate your existing data. Query syntax changes. The query syntax in Elasticsearch 5.6 is stricter and more feature-rich, but this also means that your NoSQL queries must be adapted. AWS version compatibility and the Jest client. One of the first steps in the upgrade process is ensuring that your AWS Elasticsearch version is compatible with your application's client libraries. The Jest client, commonly used with Spring Boot, needs to be updated to support Elasticsearch 5.6. This requires careful management of dependencies and ensuring that no other parts of your stack are adversely affected. Reindexing data across multiple indices. Reindexing is essential when upgrading to a new version of Elasticsearch, as older indices may not be compatible with the latest version. This is especially true if you have multiple indexes with varied mappings and data structures. Planning for reindexing involves understanding your data flow and setting up processes to handle large-scale migrations without data loss. Adapting NoSQL queries to new Elasticsearch syntax. Elasticsearch 5.6 introduces several syntax changes that can break your existing queries. This requires thoroughly reviewing and adapting your NoSQL queries, ensuring they conform to the new syntax while maintaining the same functionality. A strategic approach to upgrading. System design and minimizing downtime. A successful upgrade strategy requires a well-thought-out plan that minimizes downtime and preserves data integrity. This involves careful system design, including staging environments, rollback plans, and real-time monitoring. Phase 1. Upgrading the AWS Elasticsearch version. Start by upgrading your AWS Elasticsearch service to version 5.6. First, do this in a staging environment to identify potential issues. Then, infrastructure can be used as code, IAC, tools like Terraform to automate the setup and configuration, ensuring consistency across environments. Leveraging infrastructure as code, IAC, with Terraform. Terraform allows you to define your AWS infrastructure as code, making it easier to manage and scale. Use Terraform scripts to automate the deployment of Elasticsearch 5.6. ensuring that your configurations are version-controlled and easily repeatable. Streamlining deployment with Jenkins. Jenkins can automate the deployment process, reducing the risk of human error and speeding up the upgrade. Set up Jenkins pipelines to handle the deployment of Elasticsearch and associated services, integrating them with your existing C/CD workflows. Phase 2. Reindexing/migrating data for minimal downtime. Once the infrastructure is in place, the next step is reindexing your data. This process needs to be carefully managed to avoid downtime. Weighing the options: reindexing versus manual migration. Reindexing can be done programmatically using Elasticsearch's built-in reindex API, but in some cases, manual migration might be more suitable, especially for complex data structures. Step-by-step guide to manual migration with snapshot. Create a snapshot. Before making any changes, create a snapshot of your existing data. This provides a backup in case something goes wrong during the upgrade. Set up a temporary cluster. Deploy a temporary Elasticsearch 5.6 cluster, and restore your snapshot to this cluster. Reindex the data. Use the Reindex API to migrate your data from the old indices to the new cluster, adapting mappings and settings as necessary. Test the new cluster. Run extensive tests to ensure all data has been migrated correctly, and the new indices work as expected. Switch over to the new cluster. After testing, switch your application to the new Elasticsearch 5.6 cluster. Phase 3. Regression testing and essential query modifications. After migration, thorough regression testing is essential to ensure your application functions correctly with the new Elasticsearch version. Adapting to changes in Elasticsearch 5.6 query syntax. Review all queries in your application and adapt them to the new syntax required by Elasticsearch 5.6. This may involve rewriting queries to use the updated DSL, domain-specific language, and ensuring they return the correct results. Specific considerations for Spring Boot applications. Spring Boot applications may require additional changes, mainly if they rely heavily on custom Elasticsearch queries or mappings. Update your Spring Boot dependencies and ensure that all Elasticsearch interactions are tested. Key takeaways and future steps. Lessons learned and the path forward to OpenSearch. Upgrading from Elasticsearch 1.5 to 5.6 is a complex but necessary process to ensure continued support and performance. The key lessons from this process include the importance of planning, the need for thorough testing, and the benefits of automation with tools like Terraform and Jenkins. Consider migrating to OpenSearch, AWS's Elasticsearch fork, offering additional features and long-term support. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please share this podcast, visit our website, and follow our social media links.